So good evening, everyone, and welcome to this session. And thank you very much for joining us tonight for what we believe is one of the most practical and beneficial events for anyone interested in accounting and financial field. For those who doesn't know me, my name is Kaveh Shakuri. I'm representing PAND Settlement Services. PAND is a community-based charitable organization dedicated to supporting newcomers and immigrants in their transition to their new life and integrating to their new society. And in tonight's webinar, Introduction to Accounting and Financial Practice program at Algonquin College, it's especially, I can say, valuable for newcomers, internationally trained professionals in accounting, finance, or business, and basically anyone looking to launch or advance their career in this field. And we are very honored to be joined by two outstanding presenters, Professor Karen Meades and Adjunct Professor Jessica Zhang-Chapman. And this afternoon, they'll walk us through a graduate certificate program designed to improve your employability and provide essential knowledge on Canadian accounting and financial standards. And thank you again for being here. I hope this session will be informative and inspiring for you. If you have any question during the session, please use the chat section or raise your hand. Use the raise hand option in Zoom, and we can unmute your microphone, and then you can ask your question. And without further ado, I'll pass it over to Karen or Jessica to get started.
Jessica, would you like me to get started? And okay, interject if you would like to, and we'll start out here. Kaveh, I'm going to share my screen. If that's okay. I think you need to give me access.
Yes, you can share now.
I need to find, excuse me for 1 second. There we go. Could I just ask you to confirm that you can see my slide presentation?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Wonderful, thank you. So tonight we're looking at Accounting and Financial Practice Graduate Certificate Program. It is the highest level of learning that we have at the School of Business in the area of accounting. I have and will share the slides with you after the session. I have a URL code here that you can scan, but essentially this is a 1-year, very broad coverage program at Algonquin College. And what you'll see in the program is accounting. You're going to have exposure to tax, and it's tax from a Canadian perspective. You'll have access to business and data information systems in technology, and looking at business law, and again, from the Canadian context. So with the degree, there's enhanced employability, and we'll talk a little bit later about what that employability looks like. We fully understand that you're going to school, you're doing it for the purpose of finding a job, a better job, a job in Ontario, in Canada. So we're mindful of that when we create the program, and we have the professors who are selected to teach within the program. We see people very often who are changing their career. Sometimes we see people in related fields like business or economics, but we also see people who are taking a left-hand turn. Maybe they're in engineering and they've decided that they want accounting skills either to complement their job in engineering or to make a significant career change. We see newcomers to Canada with international degrees quite often who want that Canadian perspective. They want Canadian-specific training, and quite frankly, they want the networking that also goes along with taking a program at Algonquin. It's also for folks who want to gain core accounting and finance skills quickly. The program is across 1 year, 3 semesters, semester 1, 2, 3, back to back. So if you're looking to fast track and you want a practical education, that's very applicable to what's going on in the job market. You have job ready skills and you're good to go. It's also good for those who are thinking that I want to have something that I can use right away, but I'm also building my educational career, and I foresee that maybe I continue on to my professional accounting designation, the CPA designation. It could also be if you're looking to boost your resume, you've been working for a while, but you're just looking for that leg up. We do see folks coming into the program who are working, they're working in accounting, they're working in Canada, but they just want that extra little something that puts them on the path to promotion. There's a lot of people within Algonquin College that are behind the program. Of course, we have a president of the school, we have a dean of the School of Business, and we have a chair of the program, all of whom have eyes on the programming. More closely in support of the students, we have a student success specialist, and Shauna will interact with you individually to ensure that your experience at Algonquin is a successful one. I'm the program coordinator, so I can speak to the specifics of the academics within the program, within the college. And of course, we have very talented professors who complement the program with law degrees, accounting degrees, masters in business, masters in IT-related fields. So lots of exposure there. And our professors also have lots of work experience. So I myself, for example, teaching in the program, have over 35 years experience. Jessica's not quite as mature as I am, but nonetheless has 20 years under her belt. And you'll see that throughout the program. You have very seasoned individuals who can provide, they can provide networking for when you're looking for employment, but can also provide wonderful examples of how it works practically when you get out to industry. In terms of the program itself, it's divided into 3 levels or 3 semesters. You have a small break in between each semester. If you were to start the program in January, for example, you'd have a small break after that first semester in April, but then you'd be right back into it in May, starting your second level or second semester, which takes you through to August. And then a week or 2 break, and you'd be right into that level 3 or 3rd semester beginning in September, finished your course December. So you would have run January to December. Essentially, we typically say without a break. You have a small break in between semesters, but you haven't got a couple of months off over the summer or some such. So in level 1, you're going to have exposure to your first accounting 1, which will take you through the cycle of accounting and start to introduce transactions. Accounting 2 and accounting 3 in levels 2 and 3 continue looking at specific topics within accounting, like revenue recognition, like how to account for income tax, long-term debt, and so forth. In level 1, we start you out right away with accounting spreadsheets. So Excel, best software for accountants. I absolutely positively guarantee you will see Excel out in the work environment. And the better you can be at Excel, the more valuable you are to your employer. So we start out right away in level 1, looking at Excel, and you're going to use it throughout the program. You'll do your exams in Excel, you'll have assignments using Excel, so you get lots of practical exposure. We also introduce you to business information systems, so you can see the type of data, you can see AI, you can see the type of information that companies are using. You'll have exposure to big data. You can see what that means and how people extrapolate analyses from this type of information. And lastly, in level 1, introduction to business law, so that you're familiar with the types of corporations you'll see in Ontario and Canada. And you'll also understand contracts and other things that you'll be exposed to in your accounting career. In level 2, we introduce you to personal tax. In level 3, you'll continue to the corporate tax. And with a January start date in the program, it's very convenient because you can join a Canada Revenue Agency tax clinic as a practical experience to apply your personal income tax learning. Students in the program absolutely love that exposure. It's voluntary to sign up to the Canada Revenue Agency tax clinic, so it's entirely up to you. It will be used towards assignment marks if you choose to sign up, but lots of folks just love that type of practical learning. In level 2, you're also introduced to management accounting, which is the perspective looking within the organization. Maybe you want to know how much a product costs that you're making within your company. So sort of an internal look. So you have level 1 in level 2 there for management accounting. And in level 3, you continue on looking at intermediate management accounting. Level 2, again, very practical, very valuable learning. You'll see accounting software applications, and that's QuickBooks Online. So you'll take a company and you'll start the company and you'll do the accounting transactions for the company right there in the course. And you'll have a professor helping you all along the way. So another very practical and very useful learning opportunity within the program. Corporate finance is also something we take a peek at corporate finance to understand what corporate finance is. It is not a finance program, though, per se. It's got an accounting orientation to this program. But to be a good accountant, it is good to understand corporate finance, and it is good to have it is good to have that exposure. Level 3, you'll see the fundamentals of audit. Again, very important. It's not, you won't leave the program as an auditor, but you leave the program understanding how you'll liaison with an auditor as the accountant. And we end off level 3 with integrated accounting practice. This is referred to as a capstone course. It takes everything you've learned in the program and it gives you cases, practical, real-world cases, and you need to solve whatever the problems or issues are in these cases with the knowledge that you've gleaned from the entire program of study. The program has a very useful delivery model referred to as multimodal or flexible delivery. The professor is always in the classroom lecturing, and you are most welcome to come and sit with the professor in the classroom while they're lecturing. But we also sign up to Zoom while we're in the classroom, and if a student wants to attend via Zoom, we ask that you do that occasionally rather than all the time. But sometimes you have a conflict with, your kids' schedules or your husband's schedule or your work schedule. Perhaps you're feeling well enough to attend class, but not well enough to be in person. For those types of situations, you come on in, you join via Zoom, and if everyone in the class is okay with it, we'll record the course, And another really nice feature of Zoom is then we can share that recording. And again, the feedback I get from students is they love that. They love the access to Zoom when they're in a pinch. All will say the classroom experience is a better learning experience, but if you need the Zoom, it's there. And what we hear from the students is they absolutely love that video for going back before a test or an exam where they can review the material and really understand what they may have missed or not quite understood fully. We have many employment support services. So in the college, you'll have access to folks that will help you write your resume or cover letters. They do mock interviews with you, and they have labor market information. They'll help you create a LinkedIn profile if you don't have one. Very, very helpful. And again, I'll share the slides with you, and there's links here to some of that information that you'll want access to. Other employment resources, we have a program advisory council. That's where we, the professors and the college, engage with folks in industry. And we have conversations every couple of months with folks from industry to say, what are you looking for in our graduates? What do you want them to know so that we can incorporate it into what we're teaching? We also have an accounting career evening, which we typically hold in February for a couple of hours, one evening, and it's an opportunity for students who are in the School of Business in the program to engage with employers. So we invite employers in. We also invite alumni to come and speak about their experience and about their transition from school to work. We also have sharing employment opportunities through our class homeroom landing page. So you can see opportunities that come to our attention. And of course, you have your professional network. You have access to professors who are in industry actively working and can connect you. You also have your peers within the program. The types of jobs that graduates are able to secure include a financial accountant who prepares financial statements. You might have a management accountant role where you're doing more analysis, or a financial analyst role where you're doing more analysis of data. You can have access to tax positions. Canada Revenue Agency is a big employer, particularly in the Ottawa area. And with the accounting and financial practice, you can secure an entry-level position, and then Revenue Canada takes you and they educate you, offering you advancement within the department. There's clerical positions for accounts receivable and accounts payable, which people sometimes secure. And of course, there are the entrepreneurial-minded students who end up taking on bookkeeping, and maybe they do the bookkeeping with QuickBooks Online for various clients. So we see that from time to time. We also have many support services. The registrar's office is there for you, supporting you from your application through to graduation. We have counseling services for a myriad of things that you may want to talk about, all the way from your academics to your career, or even your well-being. For those that might need some accommodation, we have the Center for Accessible Learning, which you can speak to and speak to about accommodation. And of course, we have a health clinic that you can access. Also within the slides, I've put helpful links from questions that we've had in the past. Folks will often ask, how much does it cost? So particular to this program or other programs, or particular to your situation, are you a permanent resident? Are you from another country? You can fill in some of that information, and the fee estimator will tell you exactly how much the program costs. Often I'm asked about the English language requirements, so I've put a link there. And often I'm asked about admission, so I have some information about admission there. Jessica, maybe I can turn it over to you to add anything you might want to add, or to run through some of the testimonials that you've heard from the students.
Absolutely. Thank you, Professor Karen. Gave us a really systematic, structured, more than an overview of our program. Professor Karen has been in charge of this program for the last 6 years,
Yeah,
5 years.
Yeah.
And I
Almost.
was recruited. I was recruited to join her team to teach last year. I've done some, tax webinars for PAND, the organization. Some of you may came across my name or even connected with me on LinkedIn. So before I have the pleasure to do some testimonials for my students, for the attendees who haven't, we haven't connected in the past, if you may just allow me a few minutes to introduce myself. So I'm like the majority on this call. I am a first-generation immigrant myself. And I grew up in Shanghai, China. I came here at a relatively young age, but that was a long time ago. So I graduated from high school in Shanghai. I came here to study my first undergraduate degree, which is in accounting. I know some of you or many of you would have more advanced education than what I have. All I have is a university degree. But what really helped me, really opened many, many doors for me is my professional designation, which is the CPA. So I know this 1 year graduate certificate is not closely tying with the CPA. However, it is an important milestone in doing this program. Like Professor Karen said, our content is very much Canadian-based content. So back to myself, I only have one undergraduate degree, but I do have my CPA, and I was very fortunate upon my graduation from the University of Ottawa. I didn't graduate from Algonquin because I needed a university degree. From the University of Ottawa, with the top three, I was one of the top three grades, or the overall grade from my program. And I was very fortunate that I was recruited by Welch LLP. So some of you may have come across the name Welch. It's a CPA firm headquartered in Ottawa. And I spent most of my career, when Professor Karen mentioned I have almost 20 years under my belt, 18 out of the 20 years I spent with Welch, which is an amazing firm, CPA firm. I've done bookkeeping, financial statements, audits, internal audits, tax, business advisory, Canadian tax, non-resident tax. So with all that, I was very comfortable. I learned a lot. About 2 years ago, I was thinking what would be the next milestone, in my career. And I decided, because I worked with a lot of, entrepreneurs, right? And I decided to take this on to, how to say it? Sorry, entrepreneur path, right? Like Professor Karen mentioned. So I decided to venture out last year. And since last year, I have had the great pleasure to teach part-time for Professor Karen's program. And I'm also operating my own CPA practice. It has been a very different path from, the last 18 years, how I grew from a student to a CPA to a senior manager before I left Welch. Until, I run my own business. I work with, a diverse portfolio of clients. This tells us, or I hope it really shows, accounting is a skill. So it's not just about, it's not specifically linked to a job. Once you have the skill, you have a really solid foundation, and you can have a lot of control over what you would like to do for your career. So we often say there's a difference between a job. We all need a job, to raise our family, right? To feed ourselves. But a job versus a career path, a well-defined career path that you are passionate about and you see the value of doing it. And, practically you see the value that you're giving back to the community, also the financial gain, right? We all have to talk about the numbers. So from my journey as an immigrant, as an international student, so in the last 20 years or so, I've seen accounting has helped me to grow tremendously personally and professionally. So anyone, all my students, when they hear me speaking to my story and my passion for accounting, they can see it, especially if in a meeting room or classroom setting face to face. But I really, really want to share my experience with the group because the majority of you share, similar background as me as an immigrant. So this accounting skill, taking this program or a different program, but I just want to share the value of, having the skill to do accounting, to have a professional job in the accounting related field. It is going to give you a very, very long pathway to, whichever direction that you would like to take. And, I just want to, bring up this message before I share some success stories from my students, our students. So the first one I would like to introduce, her name is Ada. So Ada, again, was new to Canada. When she came to Canada about 3 years ago, she already had a substantial number of years of accounting experience. If anything, Ada speaks Persian language. So she's very much connected, to this community. So she came here as an international student. She was actually an accounting professor or teacher herself back in her home country. So, at some stage in her career or personal life, she decided to take this big adventure and coming to Canada as an international student. So she took this program 1 year because of, her study ethics, work ethics, and also the really solid foundation that she has in accounting. She did super well in this program. And it always pays off because, over the time, she got to Professor Karen's attention. She got to my attention because, this relatively quiet student, she's, with her personality, quiet, very detail oriented, knows accounting really well. So, and then it just, so happens when opportunity comes, we always think about our top students and we always think about our students who are very serious about this accounting path. Through one of my connection that I had, I was able to get Ada an interview opportunity, and she proved herself, her technical skills, her personality really fit well with a small CPA firm. So that CPA firm actually 100% remote. It all depends, nowadays hybrid working environment, 100% remote. So the remote arrangement works really well. This is what Ada was looking for. Probably not for everyone, but she was looking for something 100% remote. And she has been working for this small established CPA practice for last almost a year, because I think she started in September, and she's very content with the continuous learning, working as a team, and really to connect her accounting skills with the Canadian context. And the best thing that she wants to share about this program is really, the Canadian context is very important because she has solid foundation in accounting, financial reporting. She probably knows more accounting than I did, but it's really the Canadian context that closes the gap between your international professional background to the Canadian local practices. So especially when it comes to the business laws, the taxation, it's very Canadian driven. So if you have some, education or some exposure, and in our tax courses, we actually use the tax program, right, to prepare the returns, to do the case studies. So it's really, really practical or Canadian context. So hoping, I put Ada as the first testimonial because she's very, closely connected to this community PAND. So next one I would like to introduce is Wen Yu. She has the same last name as me, but we're not connected by, family relations or anything. So she is currently in her third semester in this program. She's set to graduate next month after she writes all her finals. The good news is that she already secured a job for herself. So she's working part-time. She's also an international student. So she's limited, I think 20 hours or 24 hours. I kind of forgot the specific number. But again, it's through one of the connections that I had. She's currently working part-time at a law firm. So her background is that she graduated with an accounting degree back in China, and she worked about 2 years. So she did have some international work experience, but not as, substantial as our first testimonial Ada had. So she came here, but it's all about matching, right? She's still in her earlier stage of her career. She started, trying to do the CP, but practically speaking, not until you got your immigration status, it is really, really costly to go through the CPA pathway. So she took some courses with the CPA, but then, somehow she discovered our program. And through our program, it really gives her a very condensed 1 year, right? Packed different subject matters. And like Professor Karen mentioned, one of the beauty is that Algonquin College has a huge community, and we have a really strong brand in the Ottawa community in particular. So she has been very active doing the tax clinics, doing the tutoring through the college. And, the one thing that she caught my attention, to be honest, is nothing about accounting because we have a few other top, accountants in the class. She's really, really a helpful student. And what really caught my attention is that she has strong social media skills. So when we had the guest speaking session, I actually invited one of the partners at Welch to deliver a session for the class. And she was being super proactive. She wrote about the LinkedIn post. She took the pictures and she was sharing in the proper places. So I was like, oh, this student has, nowadays, right, the social media, if you use it in a proper way, it is going to bring a lot of value to, to your future employer or to the community. So then I started, to be more interactive with her besides the class time. And then I learned, her other skills besides doing accounting. So her part-time job with the law firm is actually quite interesting. It's a mixed role as an executive assistant and some bookkeeping. So from the accounting standpoint, she probably is a bit underselling herself, but you know what? This is her first professional job in the Canadian context. And once she becomes full-time after she graduates, she already had, well, the contract is not signed, but the commitment is there. So as soon as she graduates and gets all the paperwork sorted out, she's becoming a full-time, and more accounting, bookkeeping related responsibilities will be assigned to her. So again, a student through this particular program, but I bet, everyone on this call all have your expertise in different areas. Sometimes if the accounting itself is not making you shine yet, but think about other skills. Maybe you have very strong organization skills, or maybe you have super strong skills doing the websites, doing the social medias. So if anything that really makes your resume stands out, it really helps you to make connections, outside the box. Oh, I need a bookkeeper's job. I need an accounting job. So sometimes, and you never know, right? When the opportunity comes, we'll think about you, think about this helpful student. So very happy for her. She's not finishing her program yet. She's finishing, but not officially graduated yet. But she's all set, on her pathway to get a full-time job and help her with her immigration. Okay, so that is my second proud student. And the last one, Violet. Violet is another, very positive, active, proactive student. she was not an accountant prior to joining our program. So she's new to Canada as well from Vietnam. Her professional background, she was at the managerial level, like mid-manager level back in her home country, but it's always on the operational side as office manager, project manager. So as you know, she took this big change coming here to advance her education and also, give herself a break from work and try to, explore what the next milestone is going to be for herself. She realized that back in her previous roles as managers, she was always short on the accounting finance side. We don't, expect her to prepare very sophisticated financial statements, but as a manager, you got to manage a budget. You got to understand, what budget's about and how to properly make a good use of a budget, right? That is one of the key topics that we discover in our managerial accounting. Budget is not just about, New Year's resolution. I'm going to make a budget for this financial year. It's about how are you going to use the budget as a control tool. And when you have deviations, when you have differences, right? The actual is always going to deviate from the budget. How are you going to interpret the results? And how are you going to adjust your business plan, your strategies accordingly? So she always felt like, she's good, very organized, people-oriented, managing a team. But when it comes to financials, look at the numbers, it's not Violet's favorite. So this time coming here to Canada, she decided to really enhance her financial accounting, like anything finance, accounting related skills. And she took a big move by investing in this program. And I have to admit that Violet spends more time than the other students. And Violet is doing very well, as someone whose first education or the last 10 years, not really directly accounting related. But this tells us that if you're thinking about a career change with a bit extra effort, you can do well in this course or in this program. So besides, taking the program, Violet is also very active volunteering for different, as you can see, she was volunteering for the orientation week for the college. So it is always, a good strategy to connect with the college, to make yourself known, right? And always be helpful. So we're hoping, she's still trying to figure out, which pathway that she's going to take, but she's a lot more confident with the analytical skills, with the ability to understand the financial statements, to know a little bit about the business law practice, because she does plan to stay here for, a number of years at least. The Canadian context, the business laws, the information system, the taxation, it's all very practical. So we're very happy, to present Violet here because she really, wasn't on the accounting path, but she was brave enough to give herself an opportunity to try this program, and she's liking it. And she was very proud to be on the school page, and she posted a LinkedIn that I'm a testimony on the school page. So those are the three good stories. And I'm hoping that gives some inspiration, gives some encouragement to the group. Doesn't matter if you're an accountant by trade or if you're considering, change your career. And we also had, mothers, young mothers, after spend a few years with the children. Now the children will eventually grow up, and what would you like to do, right, with yourself? And the beauty about the workplace in Canada, because I came from China, right? Back home, I think for women, the age limitation, like 35 years old or 40 years old, it becomes very challenging to get a job. But here, it's never the case. It's about your skill, your ability, and the fit between your skill and, the employer's needs. So after the kids grew up, we got to do something, for ourselves, right? For the longer term. So we do have a few, or did have a few young mothers, after a few years career gap, and they decided to do accounting and they chose our program. I think that's all I would like to share in my blog, but we're happy to take questions. And if you have any questions about the program or our professional career, what really brought us to where we are, what we're doing today for Professor Karen and myself, we're happy to share.
Yes, thank you very much. That was so informative. Amir, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you very much. It was truly an excellent presentation. Actually, I have a couple of questions. The first one is that you mentioned the course. Any of those courses that you mentioned, are they acceptable in the CPA program? And the second question, is this diploma program or does it offer a certificate? And the third one is, does the CRO recognize this program as a valid credential? Because they're always looking for a degree program like diploma, at least diploma program. So I was wondering if it's acceptable for the CRA or. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions, Amir. So if I understand the first question correctly, you're wondering about the pathway from this program to the CPA designation. You do need a university degree, and there's a couple of ways to go at it. You can go from our program to an associated university. University of Ottawa is an example. Nipissing is another example, but you can go to a university that we have an affiliation agreement with, and they will accept some of our courses, and they will ask you to complete additional courses. What some of the students do from our program is they also go directly to a master's of accounting. If they have a previous degree from a different country, they're often accepted into the Masters of Accounting. Either of those will work to get you onto the pathway to a CPA. Of course, the Masters in Accounting will get you towards the CPA at a more advanced level in that pathway. So there's pathways, and we can talk about the pathway given your particular experience and education and so forth. You asked about whether or not this program is a certificate. Yes, we are a graduate certificate. So we are accredited by the Ministry of Education, and it is a graduate certificate. So it is the highest level of certification that the college provides. And it is a credential that the Canada Revenue Agency recognizes for purposes of hiring you into an entry-level position. Canada Revenue Agency is particular about how people do what they do. So I know that once you enter Canada Revenue Agency, they have their own training that they provide, and everybody goes through the same training. So that's how that pathway works. Thanks, Amir.
Thank you very much. Actually, sorry for the first question. How many of those courses are accepted in the CPA pathway for non-core and core courses? We have some core and some non-core courses in the CPA. I was just wondering to know how many of those courses are accepted in the non-core or non-core or core.
Yeah, I can only say it depends. It depends on what you have as education. It depends on when you're entering, where you're entering the CPA, and that is a conversation that you have to have directly with them. Amir, some of our students go on to complete their CPA, but the designation is given by the CPA Canada CPA Ontario organization. So I it is something that requires a direct conversation with them to be sure that you know exactly what they want, and they change things from time to time as well. So it's always good to be up to date with what they require.
Thank you very much.
If I
You're
may
welcome.
just
Yeah,
add
please.
some more comments to Professor Karen's. So because of the condensed program, good question. And, you know, students or participants who are very serious about the CPA path always ask the same question as you did, Amir. So our program is really, because it's only 1 year, it really to help enhance the employmentability, right? Is that a proper vocabulary? So your ability, you know, to get an accounting related job, and especially let's just face the reality. I teach in the summer session. I feel sad sometimes because the college is not nearly as busy. For one reason, it's the summer time. For the second reason is we know, right? We follow the IRCC news, like there is significant cut down, like cuts on the international student permits, going into the business school, going to the accounting. And Professor Karen has the more recent like stats, the projected needs for the accounting related jobs, right? In the next few years in the national capital, it looks strong, but then in reality, we're going to facing shortage because we have less, you know, international students taking the program. So our hope, and this is what we're doing, is really to introduce our program to the locals who are already in the community. Historically, we didn't need to be, you know, as active recruiting because our program was very popular for the international population, and they come here. And I actually connected with a few students who graduated in December last year. It took them a few extra months, you know, 3 months, 4 months, but many of them, I would say like the majority of them have landed with an accounting related job. So the opportunities are there, and with the reduced right number of international students in the market taking this program, the job needs like they're there. So we're hoping that we have this opportunity to introduce our program to the ones who are already here in our community. And if you are currently looking for a career change, or if you have a job but you still miss the accounting part, or if you want to do something very different in accounting, so our program is really give you this condensed 1 year and see what it takes you to. Maybe, you know, after 1 year, you don't think accounting is for you, but that's okay. Maybe after 1 year, they're independent enough that you are able to have your own accounting practice. And in here, you don't have to have a CPA designation yet to have your accounting practice. It definitely gives you a lot of extra expertise, credentials, you know, looking great, talking to clients, marketing purposes. But here, as long as you have the proper skill, I always tell my students, I also teach like the bookkeeping program. They're way less advanced. I was like, you got to be ready. You got to be professionally competent to work with clients, right? So it's really, you know, help to hopefully and to increase your ability to get an accounting related job and really to start your professional career. And then you can think about the CPA, etc. Because CPA, it is an expensive and a lengthy path for people with international backgrounds, right? Yes, back to you, Professor Karen, or any other questions for us?
Yes, actually, there are two questions in the chat. Ryan said, I have some questions. Do we need to have study permit for this program? And he also mentioned, as I recall, I previously got in contact with the college, and one of the requirements was Algonquin College doesn't process applications for applicants who have been out of school for 3 years or more after high school. Is this requirement still valid?
Okay, so first question first. Yes, if you are an international student, neither Canadian nor permanent residents, you are going to have a study permit, and the place to go for all of the answers to those questions is our international education center. They understand immigration, they understand residency, and they understand exactly the documentation that you need. And the second question is around the requirements to apply to the program. And they are on the website under, if you Google Algonquin College, accounting and financial practice, you'll see what they require. And typically, it's whether or not your education is within the last 5 years. It's considered relevant for purposes of applying to study in Canada. But it's all itemized. And if you want more specificity on that, get in touch with me and I'll get you connected with the International Education Center for the study permit, work permit, and I'll get you in touch with the registrar's office so that they can explain to you the admission requirements very clearly with respect to your particular situation.
Great. Thank you. There's another question. I studied business accounting for 2 years and then worked at 3 different accounting firms. After that, I started working at a company as a finance assistant. However, I know that to pursue the CPA designation, it's better to work under the supervision of CPAs, which usually doesn't happen in industry. And she says, I'm a bit concerned. Would it be better for me to work in an accounting firm instead? Am I wasting my time right now? There are some pros and cons in working in accounting firms. And yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so for a CPA pathway, for a CPA designation, the CPA does require specific work experience. Again, the best people to get in touch with to understand exactly what the CPA wants is CPA Ontario or CPA Canada. They can be very explicit about what they require. But the CPA requirements have changed over the last few years, and they're trying to accommodate people who don't take the pathway of just going to work for accounting firms more and more. So they're opening it up and understanding that people have valid and verifiable work experience in private, public, not-for-profit, government positions, and you do need a supervisor to sign off on your work experience, but it doesn't necessarily all have to be done by a CPA. It can be done by someone who's supervising your work, who can articulate what that work is. Having said that, though, I am a CPA, but I don't work for CPA, and the best place to get answers to those questions is to go to the CPA organization directly, because they can change the information. I don't look at the website. Maybe I look at it once every 6 months or once a year. They're on top of it all the time. They know what they want, and they know where the information is and everything else.
Absolutely. If I may add a couple of more comments related. So there is the supervisor, like Professor Karen mentioned, needs to sign off on your experience, and you have to hit the specific categories. And within the categories, you have to go in depth. You have to use examples to demonstrate your, accomplished, right, the set skills. But there is also the CPA mentor, which can be a different role from the one who signs off your report. Like you said, there might not be enough CPAs, right? And depending on which workplace that you landed in, your supervisor may not be a CPA. But CPA Ontario does allow to have a mentor who has to be a CPA, who must be a CPA and registered with the PERT, the reporting portal. So the CPA mentor, along with, the reports coming from your workplaces, and then it should give you enough. And it's not uncommon for, students in the CPA program changing jobs over the time. Like Professor Karen mentioned, you need to be very specific in hitting certain categories and going depths, right? So this is why I was like, CPA is going to be a big, long journey. Getting your first, accounting related job, or, getting into the accounting related job probably should take a high priority. Then think about this CPA path. Once you're in the job and you have some practical, Canadian accounting related work experience on your resume, and then really looking at the CPA as a long, like it's a long journey. It's, a huge professional accomplishment, but it's not going to happen, in a very short period of time, especially for, participants or the students with international backgrounds. And if you have family commitments, it is expensive and it is a long journey. I hope that gives you a bit more extra, but like Karen says, check out the CPA website or just call CPA. And I believe CPA has like free webinar sessions every 2 weeks. I don't know if it's still run during the summertime, but they're very active, giving out the information session. Just figure out, who would be the CPA man call versus your supervisor to sign off your work validation report.
Mehrasa, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, Karen. Hi, Jessica. It's Mirasa. I took this course, this program with the Karen back in 2024. If you remember me, it's still Karen. How are you? Really nice to see you here.
Maybe you should turn on your video so they can see you.
Right now. Actually, it really made my day when I see you here, and I would love to share my experience with who it's intended in this actually this Zoom meeting. I truly feel honored to have spent a year study under your guidance, Karen, and the accounting and financial practice program was really intensive, but it was absolutely worth it. It helped me to discover the path I wanted to pursue here, and I feel so lucky that I had the chance to take accounting principle 1 and 2 and 3 with you. And thank you so much for all your support and for inspiring me through this journey. And I highly recommend the accounting and financial practice at Algonquin College to anyone who is interested in this field. I think it's an excellent program because it's only 1 year long, and it covers everything you need to help you decide which path you want to pursue in accounting or finance. So I think in this program it was intensive and fast paced, but it provides you with all the essential knowledge and practical skill you need in short time, you know what I mean? And you even get hands-on experience with important software like QuickBooks Online. I'm working here for about 2.5 years. And actually, Jessica, I work in Welsh for about 1 year as a senior bookkeeper. Yeah, it was a really good experience for me. I was in an Elevate department.
Yes,
Sean and Caroline.
Yes, Sean, Chris Myers,
exactly.
Caroline.
Exactly, all of them. It was such a really honor for me, and now I have my clients, and I find my path right now, and I'm really happy to see both of you here, and I was really surprised. And I recommend this program. Thank you so much. And I really recommend this program to everyone that wants to do this, because yeah, it was just 1 year, but it's really worth it. After this program, you are versatile. You can decide which path you want to go. And after that, I think the thing is really important is start your career from a big accounting firm. It's
You
really
are very
helpful.
fortunate. You know how many world hires every year, right? So you and I both are very fortunate.
Yeah, I know. But you can get a really good experience in accounting firm. It's not easy because you have to handle more client at the same time, but it's really worth it. It's really worth it. You can get a lot of good knowledge about everything. HSD, about payroll, about working with more software like QuickBooks Online, Dex, WagePoint, everything. So I really highly recommend it, first of all, this program, and then start your journey from accounting firm at least for 1 year. At least for 1 year. Yeah. I just want to share my feeling right now and say hi to both of you because I was really surprised to see you here and just share my experience as well in this 2 and 3 years.
Thank
I
you
hope
for your
helpful.
support. That's like one of the best testimonials. But it's
Thank you.
interesting, just like you said, it all depends what your needs are, right? Being a student, investing a year, the time and finances.
Exactly. Mhm.
In your case, it's really the QuickBooks Online, right? Like really was the
Yeah,
highlight and you got most value out of it. For some
exactly.
others, it might be the information system, and for the rest, it might be the tax. So it's really what fits your needs the best, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
don't
Because
expect,
all
to
of the
get everything out of it. It's if you can
yeah,
get, 70%, 80% out of this, then it's
exactly.
worth the
Because
investments.
yeah, all of the corporate, even from small size on the to medium size, work with KBO and also use for the tax purposes, they use profile. That in this program, we can learn how to work with profile. So I highly recommend this program to anyone that wants to, yeah, spend time or um, make a decision in this path. It's really helpful. 100%.
It's amazing. Maybe we should, if we have your
Thank you.
consent, we'll add you to our testimony as well.
Thank you so much.
Send
Thank
us an
you.
email, please, please.
Thank you. You have made my day. I mean, this is why Jessica and I teach, is to
Oh,
watch, is to
thank
watch
you, Karen.
people, is to
Thank
watch
you so
people
much.
graduate and they get on with their
Yeah,
life and they get on with their careers, and it's just, it's
yeah.
why we do what we do. Thank you
A-
so much.
Actually, Karen, it's wonderful. She is everything. She is really supportive. The one person that I met in Canada, it was Karen. I truly say this.
Thank
He
you.
was, she
I
was
do it from
really,
the
yeah.
bottom of my heart. You have no idea.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. You are really, I really appreciate it for everything that you did for all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
And I will share the same comment. I benefited from Professor Karen's mentorship as well.
Oh
She
my gosh.
guides me, she coaches me,
Oh,
not from the textbook, but from my professional,
oh,
growth experience standpoint. So again, it's the
Okay.
community, like the college community, our program
Mm.
community. You get to talk to different professors, and we all have, work, right? Like this is our part-time, Professor Karen's full-time, but many of us are part-time and we have other work, other connections, and we're open to share. Our goal is to help our students to grow and be successful.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you. Are there other questions that,
No, I don't
and
see any.
and folks, I'll share the slides with Kaveh,
Sure.
and in there's my contact information. Please reach out. If I don't know the answer, I'll get you connected with the resources that can help. And even if you're thinking, oh, this program's not for me, you're welcome to reach out, and based on your situation, I'll offer you what I know. If it's helpful to you. So just don't be shy, reach out and we'll get you organized.
Yeah, we have other accounting related programs. It's just, we have like this particular program had the opportunity to present to the group. If you don't think that you can handle at this point the depths, right? Because it's intense. If you want to take a slower pace, we also have 2-year business accounting programs, etc. Like Professor Karen says, we all work together, for the college as a team. If you are just interested in accounting itself, and just please let us know.
Perfect. So there are no other questions. I just wanted to thank you both. That was amazing. One of the best webinars we had so far. So, and I'm sure people will reach out to you. I'll share the recording with our audience, and let them know that they can reach out to you, and I'll share the slides with them.
Wonderful. Kevin, I'll send the slides to you as soon as we're finished here. So
okay, that would be amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight, and have a great night, everyone.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Karen. Bye.